Okay, how's it going? So what I'm going to be doing in this video is we're going to be doing REST AWS API basic setup. We're going to be doing just a GET request, handling CORS because I know CORS comes up, and then exploring similarity between Express and the AWS. Okay, and we're going to be doing it from scratch. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you need to set up a Lambda function. All right, so the first thing you do is you go to Lambda and we create a function. I did it too quickly, I think, right? Create a function. Function name, we call this practice 1.1. No, I cannot. Okay, practice 1. All right, this practice 1. Change default execution role, yes. And we need to select this one here. Because we're going to be assigning a policy. Role name, we'll call this practice 1 role. Okay. Now, the whole purpose of this whole thing is to make sure later we're going to be adding Dynamo database and then doing like get, post, delete requests, right? But you need to understand the basics of the infrastructure before you can do this stuff. Because if you do not understand the basics of infrastructure, it's like trying to drive a car without petrol in it, without knowing how to put the petrol into it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just not going to drive. Okay, so we have practice 1 created, right? The next thing, so that's our Lambda function in here. There it is, right? Okay, so before we start creating API methods, we need to assign privileges to the role. Okay, so the way to do that is you go to IAM, roles, practice 1 role. Do you remember when we were creating a Lambda function? We assigned practice 1 role. All right, so we select this one here. We need to attach two policies, right? So one policy is called CloudWatch logs, right? So we click on attach a policy, we find it. You can just type CloudWatch logs, click on it, attach a policy. And the second policy is, now this is for the future, of course, but this will allow our database to be able to use the Lambda function. All right, and then that's it. So IAM is now done. The next step is we need to create the gateways. So we go API gateways. We go create. We want REST API. Okay. Name it. Let's put practice 1. Okay, so the difference between those 3 is regional is only within your region. edge optimized is for a lot of different regions at the same time, and private is only for you. So we'll stick to regional for now. REST, yes, create API. Okay, the next thing you want to do is create a resource. We call this health. So we're going to be checking if the GET request actually works. And that's going to be the URL we're going to be using, health. Now, important to click on enable CORS, otherwise you might get into trouble with CORS. But I'll show you how to manage the CORS. Okay, so whenever somebody types health URL, by using our link, we want the server to manage a GET request. All right. So in here we have a Lambda function. Use Lambda proxy integration, yes. The reason why we click that is because then you don't have to map. It's very complicated. I'm not going to explain it. Just click it. All right. And then we need our Lambda function, which is practice 1, I think, right? Yeah. Okay. So now click on save. All right. And now we need to deploy it. So the API is going to be usable. Stage. Now, stage name is important because that's going to be part of your URL. So put it as a practice 1. Or put your name into it, right? I'll put Dmitry. Okay. Deploy. All right. Now you see we have the link. So now, whenever somebody does this, health, they'll get a response. Hello from Lambda. Okay. Now, once you so now we want to, let's say we want to fetch this text from Lambda. Okay. So where does this text comes from? Where's that text coming from, right? It comes from your you go to Lambda functions, practice 1. So that's the one we created. And then that's where this text is coming from. So let's say you want to put some kind of object in here, whatever you want. Let's put name. Whoops. Dmitry. Status. AWS training. Okay. And then deploy. Now the good thing is once you edit the Lambda function, you don't have to restart the server all over again. It's automatically done for you. So this will now be, so you see if you refresh this thing, it will be now this thing here. So what is this thing? Like, this is a JavaScript. It's equivalent to, if you're an Express, if you learned how to use Express, this will be your server JavaScript file that is running your Express. So this is exactly this in here. But I'll explore the similarities between them later. Okay, so now we want to fetch this JSON, right? So the way to do that, let's do async function get data const response equals await fetch. We want the URL to go in here. Then we want const data equals await. Now these ones you can call whatever you want. Okay, and you can call them literally bananas if you want. Okay. Await. So this one is referring to this one here. So response should be JSON. We're converting it into JSON. And then let's console log the response, which is that data. Okay. All right. So let's connect this to a button. I don't like in CodePen, you see like that there's a thing you can do where you click on a run, but I mean, it takes a bit of time. So let's just connect it to a button. So every time we click the button, function get data gets run. Okay. Let's just test this first. Whoops. Whoopsie. Okay, let's test it. Okay, so this is working. Now the moment of truth. Once we click this, it should give us the JSON file, this one here. And it's not going to do that because it's blocked by the CORS policy. Yes. Okay. All right. So to handle the CORS policy, you have to do AWS CORS, right? You see this code in here. You have to add it to your Lambda function. So you go to your Lambda function, you see in here, and you copy and paste it. Now, very, very important. You want to get rid of this code in here and put a asterisk or a star or whatever it's called. It's basically shift 8. And this will, it's called a wildcard. I don't know if you remember if you were doing regular expressions. This is a wildcard. So any origin will be allowed. Okay. So technically this should solve, and we press on deploy. This should solve the CORS issue. So let's try it again. Click on test. There you go. And that handles the, okay. So you see now we are returning our object, which is in here, in here. So if you can imagine, this is some kind of a database you want to, let's say this, well, in the next videos, we're going to be doing databases, you know, like you have a live database, Dynamo database, and then you can just fetch information from it to use for your training. You can even put this in here. Remember that this is a JavaScript interface. So anything you do in JavaScript normally will work in here. All right. So again, you see we can test. Oh, let me just change this to, so we know that this is updated. Oh, I forgot to deploy. Deploy, otherwise not gonna work. You see, now it's working. Okay, so the first question is, how do you invoke this function? Because you'll be writing this, and obviously you want to console log this stuff. So remember, every time you use, well, honestly, I haven't figured out how to console log it myself at the moment, but I will, because I'm doing this series to full end-to-end, because I'm trying, like I'm converting myself from Express JavaScript server to AWS because it's a higher demand skill on an employment sector, right? At least for me. But you need to go to LinkedIn and check, because in your region, Express could be number one. So don't watch this video, go work on Express. All right. The first thing you do whenever you're learning a new skill in programming is you go to LinkedIn or Indeed and you check the demand for the skill. Because if there's no demand for the skill, you're wasting your time. All right? Programming is fun, it's exciting, but at the end of the day, you need to drive a helicopter and a private jet and hang out with the ladies. So it's very important that you. There's a good saying. It's if you are planning to climb a building, if you're planning to climb a ladder, make sure it's leaning against the right wall. Okay, so let's explore the differences between AWS interface, well, AWS REST infrastructure and your standard Express infrastructure. All right, so let's just write a simple. I already have everything installed, so guys, like if you don't know how to do that, you need to just get a video on how to like. There is a good video. Code train, the coding train. This guy here, he's a god basically for this. Where is my thingy? Man, I have so many tabs open. It's so annoying. Okay. So you go to YouTube, you go the code train. And you need to put the REST, I think, API or something like this. Yes, this series here. Okay. If you want a really, really easy to follow, short, like how to work with REST API, Express servers, and just in generally, how do you work with the backend once you have your website working? How do you like create databases? Very basic stuff. This is the course to do. All right, working with data and APIs in JavaScript. This is the course to do. Okay, so let's explore the differences. Let's just real quickly create a const app express, I think like this, right? Then we need, what do we need? We need const port, I think, right? Let's set it to 2000. We're not gonna do the environmental one. Then app.listen 2000. There you go. Okay, so now we need this thing to run. New terminal, this with slider, change the lecture server, and then node mon. I'm using node mon, so I don't have to restart, but you can do node server.js. Huh. What's in here? What is the problem? Const express require express. Const app. You see, the problem is I don't write it manually. I normally just do this. Yeah, but what's the difference? Oh, I know what the problem is. That's because I'm already running one. I'm pretty sure it's in here. No, this one is, no, I think it's in here. Yeah. I need to stop this one. I'll just close this one. Okay, good. Now it started. Because yeah, when you get this error, that means you already have it running somewhere here, so you just need to kill it, or just get rid of this one as well. The way to kill it is Control C. You see it stopped now. Node Mono is much better. Okay, so right, the ultimate questions. All right, in Express you're writing app.get, right? So let's say you want to create your, I don't know, app.get request, right? App.get, let's say health. Then you do your function thingies, right? And then let's just response and healthy, okay? And let's put a status as well to 200. That means it's healthy, right? Okay, so this part here, get, is a method, and this is URL, right? This is kind of like, it's called the root handler. In AWS, it's exactly the same as API gateway. Okay, so when we go to API gateway, we are creating a method which is get, and we're designating the URL. Okay, so get and health is handled in the API gateway. All right. Now the second thing is what this callback function. What is that? Right. Now that is your Lambda function. Okay. In Amazon, it's in here. That's your Lambda function. All right. So this is this part here. So in Lambda function, event is the same as get. Request is the same as request. My apologies. So event and request. So this should be request response. So request and event are exactly the same thing. Okay. Now the difference in Amazon, response is in the body of the function, whereas in here it's first an argument and then it goes into the body. The rest is exactly the same. Okay. So next, obviously, I think that's about it. Yeah. Now, Amazon has a layer which is called IAM, which gives kind of like the which manages the roles and user settings, right? So this is something that Express does not have. Well, like it probably has, but it's like a separate add-on. But in here you have your roles, right? And this is something that pretty much Express does not have. Okay, I think that's about it. Did I cover everything? CORS handling done. Oh, if you want to fetch it, yeah, if you want to fetch it in your yum, 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 yum. Let's do it in practice. Okay, we first need to allow the practice to work. So we need to app use Express status. Oh, now I need to install the path. So const path. Now this is like mumbo jumbo. I hope you, again, you have to do the code train, then you understand what this thing does. Status. Path, I don't think he covers, but I kind of found some videos how to do it. It's basically it allows you to create URLs easier. Just basically find the courses on how to do path. It's not very difficult to do. It's frustrating because like I'm not explaining it, but like I cannot explain everything, otherwise the video is going to be 24 hours or something like this. So status, we need path, resolve. Okay, so path, so you see in status, this normally requires a URL, right? So normally if we want to have a folder available, we'll put in public, something like this, right? Dash public. What this does is it allows anything in this folder to be used publicly, right? Same thing for JavaScript files. If you want everything in this folder to be available through the server, you just put in JavaScript files in here. However, my server is in a separate folder, so I need to go one level up. And I cannot do it like this. It's not gonna work. Because normally that's the way you do it, but for some reason it doesn't work. So path resolve, like path allows you to manipulate this stuff. So you see, you can just do path resolve. Dir name. So direction name is the same as pwd. So if you just Google, if you just console log direction name, it will show you location of the server file. Okay, so now we know where the server is. It's in whatever slider server server.js. So we need to go one level up. Standard code, right? So now we are in slider, right? And we want to make public available. So we just type in public folder, and that's it. And it's done. Basically, when you think about path, it kind of allows this code to be available as long as you type in the direction name. And then app use, we do JavaScript file as well. JS. So basically, if you're annoyed with something, right? If you're annoyed with something, just in the video, tell me, and I'll change it. Oh, not static. My apologies. It should be static. Okay. So now you see, whenever we type anything from here, so oh my god, whatever, like practice, index, selfie, it will work. But if you remove this, it's not gonna work. So let's say practice, you see, boom, doesn't work. No get request, right? You allow it and it works. Okay, so now let's fetch into this, let's fetch our Amazon API into this practice thingy. So we need to go into practice JavaScript. Let's create our fetch. I'm just gonna use my magical thingy. And I'm gonna console log data. So we need the, what was the query? Where's the Amazon API? No, that's the wrong one. So we'll go to our gateways, right? Practice one, stages, and this will give us this thing. And the URL we want is health. Okay, so let's go into our, like this, health, and then it's called already automatically. So now this should, in theory, if we reload, yeah, you see, it's calling the Lambda function, which is in here. So it's calling this thing here. Okay, and that's it. So then in the next video, we're gonna connect the database, external database. We're gonna be using Dynamo, whatever it's called, database. And then we're gonna be doing like get requests, push requests. I'm gonna do separate video for each, step by step, so it's easier, you know. Okay, done.